I still need it identified. What is it?
It's the violation
Sir?
report.
You're not testifying right now.
I bet.
Is the violation report for his parole?
Different than Exhibit 1?
Yes.
Okay. So I know what it is. Would you like it to come into evidence?
Yes, sir.
All right, and no objection, counsel? 22 will be admitted. Now you can ask her questions with regard to this exhibit.
Okay. On here on the report, it shows that you showed up to parole and probation, and it states that you showed the parole officer pictures. Is that true?
That's correct.
Okay. For what reason did these pictures just happen to exist? Why did you have random pictures of me in your phone of me holding beer?
Objection, argumentative.
Well, I don't see it argumentative.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you would always tell me that you didn't drink, that I was a liar, that I would make up things, that I had no proof, and you would always threaten me. Because I feared for my life and I needed to make sure that I had proof, because you would tell me one thing and then tell me that I was lying and that never happened.
Okay, so these say that the photos were dated between March 2017 and May 2017. So you were so afraid for your life that you were able to collect a number of pictures from March, April, May. That's 3 months. So you lived in fear, continuously taking pictures. For what purpose? What was the purpose?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained. She just answered that question.
Okay, because what? You were scared and this was, what was it?
You told her that she was lying,
Okay.
and that you weren't violating anything, and that's why she took the pictures, is what she testified to.
So we were, if that was true, this would be because, why? Why would I be accusing you of lying? What was the situation?
Objection is
Yes.
vague and.
It's hard for me to,
Well,
she had already
she-
threatened to set me up, so I don't know how to
No,
go
and
about.
I'm going to have to give him a little leeway because he's not an attorney, but I think I understand the question. Do you understand it?
No.
Okay, then can you ask it differently?
Okay, this situation where you thought that you had to take pictures of me to prove something, why did this situation even arise? Does that sound
Because you
better?
were getting worse, you were drinking every night and getting more violent.
Oh,
And
well-
my kids were at risk, not only the other two, but now the baby too.
okay. So this was all happening and you never called the police?
I
Ever?
called the police in 2014. I made a report with the police in 2014, and they didn't do anything. So I thought that if they didn't do it, they didn't arrest you, and you kept threatening me, telling me that I was going to get killed. And the way you reacted, the way you switched, the look on your face, I was fearful for my life and for my kids and for my family.
Did you ever hit me?
I would, when you would be choking me, I would push you.
Okay. I don't have any proof of what she did, Your Honor. I'm sorry. I don't have.
Objection.
Now's
you can't testify.
time for you to ask questions. You'll get a chance to
Okay.
testify in a little while.
Oh, you mentioned this headache thing that you suddenly had. Did you have cataract surgery ever in your life?
No, never.
You never had eye repair surgery?
I had LASIK, not cataract.
LASIK, okay. Because throughout our marriage, you had headaches because of your eyes. And now
Objection,
it
he's
was me.
testifying.
Sir,
Sorry, I don't know how to.
you do, because I've explained this to you several times, to ask you to ask questions, not make statements. You're going to get a chance to testify later.
Okay. So the headaches were never from your eye surgery?
No, they weren't.
And they were from, what was it? You beating your head into the wall?
That's correct.
And you never called the cops on that either, right?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained. She said she never called the police except for 2014.
Okay, and then we were married in 2012.
Are you still
Okay.
testifying, or are you asking questions?
What else? Oh, what did you say? I'm sorry. Forgive me. Oh, you showed the pictures of me fishing with my children on the, we went to Laughlin River. on the-
Objection, testifying. If he wants to ask a question, he can ask a question.
You showed pictures of me fishing with my children on the side of the river. and then you showed the pictures to the parole officer. How did you know that that would be an issue?
Objection, that last foundation, she didn't testify about any pictures fishing.
It's on the report here.
Okay, so your question is, why did she take a picture of you fishing?
Yeah, you showed those pictures of Prio. Yeah, why did you show him those pictures?
When they asked me if you had ever violated anything else, I told them yes, that you had left and we had gone to Arizona. That same picture you had on your Facebook.
Okay. You mentioned that you never knew about my criminal history throughout our entire marriage.
Objection, the state's required
That's
testimony.
not what she said.
No, I'm asking another question. Is that okay?
Well, what you're doing is you're setting up your question with a statement.
Okay.
And counsel objected because the statement that you were setting it up with isn't consistent
Oh.
with her testimony.
I'm
So
sorry.
feel free to ask a question. It was
Okay.
the setup that she had an objection to.
Okay. Are you actually really saying that you never knew about my criminal history until the last minute here? That you never knew nothing about why I went to prison?
Again, objection, the state's her testimony.
It's a compound question too. If you could simplify the question, that would make it easier.
Are you saying you did not know why I went to prison until, what was it, when you filed in 2017, when this happened? Is that what you said? You never knew nothing about
No, that's
anything?
not what I said. I said that afterwards, after we were already married and everything, when I went to parole and probation, they told me exactly how was it that the child died.
After we were married in 2012, you didn't go to parole and probation to 2017.
Objection, he's testifying, there's no question.
What's the question?
When did you find out? When are you saying you found out why I was in prison?
Objection, asked and answered, I already asked her that.
Well, he didn't. Go ahead.
After we were married already, and we had,
After we were married already? At what point when we were married? In 2012, a day after we got married, a month after we got married, a
Objection,
year?
argumentative,
Sustain.
and Your Honor, I would ask for
Sustain.
some.
Just ask a question and wait for an answer.
Okay.
Do you know
Af-
when? What year?
after, around 2013,
Is when you found out why I was in prison.
correct.
In your divorce complaint, you claimed that you never found out until you filed the complaint in 2017.
I did not put that. I
Okay.
knew that you had gone to prison, but I did not know the exact details. You would always lie and change the stories and said it was not your fault, that it was an accident.
But that doesn't mean that you didn't know why. You're saying
I
you didn't
found
know
out-
It's a
nothing.
statement, not a question.
Right, I need you to ask a question.
So did you know why I went to prison? Forget what.
Stop. See, here's the problem, that I'm trying to make a clean record.
Right.
And you're asking a question, and then before she gets to answer, you ask another part of a question, so I don't know which
Yeah.
question she's answering. So just stop with the first question, and then let her answer, and then you can go to the next part. Okay?
Okay. Did you know why I went to prison before 2017 when you filed the?
Did you know why you went to prison before 2017?
Yes, I found out after we were married.
Okay. And then you still, after you found out in 2013, you still had children with me?
I already had a child with you, and you would force me.
Okay, no further questions.
Any redirect for this witness?
This is
Thank you,
nuts.
ma'am. You can step down.
So I
Any
have
other-
questions for Mr. Hoff, but I guess
Now I'm
I'll
ready
reserve
to-
them for, is he willing to testify and call himself? Because I've got time, right?
No, you have about
Oh,
19
sure.
minutes.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to call him now, or do you want to call him or take him in his case in chief?
Are you intending to testify as part of your?
Are you planning to testify?
I'll say something, yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're going to
Yeah, I'll
rest?
reserve my questions for.
All right, sir, come on up. I presume, well, let me find out. It's now what's called your case in chief.
Okay.
Do you have any witnesses other than yourself?
No, sir.
Okay, so do you want to testify?
Sure.
All right,
Okay.
come on up, and we'll get you sworn in. Raise your right hand for me.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this section should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Absolutely,
Please
yes,
state
sir.
and spell your name for the record, and you can be seated.
David, D-A-V-I-D, Zachariah, Z-E-C-H-A-R-I-A-H, Hoff, H-O-F-F.
Have a seat. Let me kind of explain to you.
Okay.
If you were, well, as I indicated to you, this is what's called your case in chief. It's
Okay.
time for you to establish whatever you want to establish for your case
Okay.
to have me consider.
All right.
Okay? If you had an attorney right now, they would ask you questions and you would give answers.
Okay.
Okay, you're not represented by an attorney, you're
No.
testifying. I do not want you to ask yourself questions and give answers.
All
Okay?
right.
You are under oath, so tell me what it is that I need to know as
Okay.
part of your testimony. If counsel objects, just
Right.
stop what you're saying for a second, let me rule on the objection, I'll tell you how to go from there.
Okay.
That all make sense to you?
Yeah.
Questions for me before you get started?
Would there be no, like I asked before, would there be no polygraphs or anything like that? I don't know how any of this can be established as truth, and it's just hearsay, so I don't know.
My job is to assess credibility.
Okay.
And to come up with a decision.
All right. I just, like I said, I don't have any proof or witnesses, so that's why.
And hearsay,
It's just my word, you know.
and that would be evidence that I can consider.
Okay. All right.
And hearsay is a reasonable objection for someone to make. There's some
Okay.
exceptions to the hearsay rule.
Right.
But if counsel voices an objection, just stop testifying for a minute, let me deal with it, and I'll tell you where to
All
go
right.
from there.
Thank you.
Any other
Appreciate
questions?
it. I don't think so.
All right, go right ahead.
So I just talk.
Whatever you'd like me to know.
Just that I was married to this woman for 5 years, and though I can't prove anything, I'm being accused of everything that she did to me, and she's a master manipulator, and she's able to twist everything. And everybody in this room knows the truth, but these people have this third world mentality about sticking together regardless of right or wrong. This woman beat the crap out of me for 5 years. She controlled every single aspect of my life, my emails, my phone, who I could talk to, who I couldn't talk to. The reason why I haven't called is because the only phone number they provided is her phone number. And after living with spy bubble apps on my phone, GPS apps, I'd come home from work and have to listen to random conversations of me talking to people at work and get questioned and drilled about what female I'm talking to. I had to live like this.
Okay.
So-
From what I just heard,
Right.
it sounds like you spanned about 5 years.
Okay.
So if you could help me with timeframes, that would make
Right.
it make
I'm
a
sorry,
little
I
more
was just
sense
trying
me.
to build the situation.
No, I understand, but I'm trying to
So-
maintain where we are.
I put up with this woman's abuse, mental, physical, verbal. Every one of these people know how verbally, horribly abusive this woman is. I refused to leave my kids the way my father left me. I endured all this abuse. I can't produce the alligator tears like her, man. I'm not the actress she is. But I'm telling you, because I'm the man, nobody ever gives me the benefit of the doubt. She's trying to use my criminal history, which has absolutely nothing to do with my kids. I had witnesses who all had conversations with this woman before we were even
Objection.
married.
This is-
You're saying.
Sorry,
You can't tell me what somebody
I'm
else said.
sorry. That's what I mean. Like, I don't have anybody to prove that she's a pathological liar. I'm just hoping that you see that. For 5 years, I abused her. There was all these things that happened. There was never a cop.
I'm sorry, you abused her for 5 years?
No, that's what I'm saying, the accusation. No,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm accused of abusing, throwing things, all these things. There was never a call by her, by a neighbor. We lived in a complex with paper walls. You could hear somebody having a conversation. Nobody called the cops. When the CPS lady came to read the report to me, the first thing she told me was she called and there was never
Objection,
anything.
hearsay.
Sustained.
Okay. So anyway, Your Honor, all I'm saying is this was all a build-up. Those pictures existed for a reason. When I refused to give this woman a divorce, she said, I will get you one way or another.
I'm sorry, you refused to give her a divorce?
When she began asking for a divorce after our third son was born, and I don't know if it was postpartum mixed with the bipolar that was already there, she got extremely violent. They stated how I had to ask permission what to do with my own children because these people in their matriarchal third world situation dominated everything. It wasn't a fear thing. They're just control freaks. And they like to use the fact that I wasn't working because we had an agreement after our third son was born that I would stay home. And because nobody is allowed to watch their kids and their family because they have this third world fear that everyone's a rapist and a child molester, and they insist on only their family members watching people, I had to stay home to watch the kid. She twisted that around, of course, what she does, and says I didn't want to work. I didn't want to do anything because these people's whole value system is based on work and money. It has nothing to do with the values I was trying to instill in my kids. I was the sole voice of reason in these children's life. while she was taking selfies and doing her makeup. I'm the only one that did the ABCs. I watched what they ate. They go downstairs, it's cookies and tablets, go sit down, let grandma play video games. I'm the one who watched what they ate, weighed the ingredients, watched what they did. I was the one who was trying to do the education thing. But I'm just the white boy. I'm the dumb white boy who's been in jail with all of these people from the jungle. I couldn't win. They all hold, and she took advantage of the fact I got no friends and family. She spent 5 years alienating me from all family and friends. If I had the phone records, it would show she controlled the phone. I won a $20,000 settlement from an auto accident. I got the documents from Wells Fargo. She took all $20,000 from me, wouldn't let me spend a penny. I got texts on my phone, me begging for my own money. She says I can't have it because I owe her for the time she paid the bills when I wasn't working. This is the kind of situation we are in. It's intelligent. She's an 8th grade dropout who can barely read or write, but she was able to manipulate the system by going online and finding out if you set up your husband and you're the first one to lie and make up the story the best, you win. She got a free attorney, free divorce by putting me in jail, taking advantage of my record. It was a caseworker in prison who realized her accusations and her father's accusations were almost verbatim what my original CSI report was. She knew from the day we met on Plenty of Fish. She knew every detail of my life, and every one of them knew every detail of my life before I ever met this woman in real life. She's a pathological liar. She can sit up here like a novella actress and shed her tears with her mascara all day. Straight garbage. And I got all these people that are willing to sit there and lie. They're supposed to be Christians, and these hypocrites are up here lying their ass off. I didn't do nothing to this broad. I didn't do nothing but take her abuse, take her disrespect. She would sit there and talk to my children and tell my children that their grandmother, my mom who's dead, was a Trump dick-sucking whore. She was. I'm sorry. No, I'm saying she would say the most horrible things, and every one of these people know what she would say. It's horrible. And because I went to prison for something unrelated, I'm never going to get the benefit of the doubt. I was a good father to those kids. They sat there and witnessed abuse on her daughter and on their grandkids for 5 years, never called the cops. Where's the police reports? So either it didn't happen or their judgment as grandparents and friends and whatever, it's extremely skewed. And in their mindset, they know more than the law. Because remember, we're Americans, we're dumb. They're from another country, they're smart, none of them graduated high school, but we're all dumb, our system's dumb. They never assimilated. We don't know what we're talking about. We're arrogant Americans. We don't know nothing. They know better than everybody. That's why they moved in underneath instead of calling the cops, because they were going to handle everything. They were going to be the heroes. They were going to show up. Her grandma, her mom, who can barely walk, was going to run up the stairs every time she heard my kids scream and come to the rescue. They sold their house and moved under because their thing is no one can watch the kids. We're going to impose our will upon you. Watch these kids. Use it as an excuse. We're going to help, and then use it as an excuse to be impulsive. When you marry these people, you marry the whole family. I never had my own wife. I never had my own kids. I had to marry her. I married her dad. I married her mom. The whole tribe. The whole tribe, I had to marry these people, and they were in there every second. She's never lived without her mommy and daddy her whole life. I met her at 27 years old. She still lived with mom, dad, sister, brother-in-law. She has no concept of independent thought. Once these people get in her head and say, get rid of him, do this, she's a robot, and she does it.
I have to object on relevance. We're short on time.
It's his time.
And I'm just giving you a concept of what I went through for 5 years. And now I'm the one who just went to prison for 20 months. I gave you everything here. The final charge for my going to prison was consumed alcohol while on parole, without alcohol, without a breathalyzer, without a blood test, by pictures that existed for the sole purpose of setting me up. This was a setup. She used to.
Did you drink alcohol?
Yes, I did, sir.
Okay,
yes, I did.
Then I'm not sure I understand your argument.
What I'm saying, I wasn't arrested in public for public intoxication. I was arrested by those pictures that she took for the sole purpose of getting me.
Were you in violation of your parole?
Yes, sir. After she went, not that I was arrested or anything.
No, but when you were consuming alcohol, were you in violation of your parole?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm not clear on.
No, what
your
I'm saying is,
argument.
as far as the violation, it wasn't a new arrest. There's never been a new charge. I didn't pick up any new charges. It was simply because of the alcohol,
Right.
because of the pictures. But there was no arrest as far as me doing anything wrong. She told people while I was in prison that I would beat my kids.
Right, but I'm trying to follow your logic.
Okay.
You're telling me that you didn't do anything wrong, and and then, but you
No,
told me
no,
that drinking alcohol was a violation of your parole.
Right, what I'm saying is, I didn't
Nobody
get.
caught you. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
no. What I'm saying is in the manner of how it went, how it occurred. She told me she was going to set me up. She told me that she was going to put me in prison.
Hearsay, Your Honor.
She's party. He can tell me what she said.
The what?
She was objecting that hearsay, but you were telling me what the plaintiff said.
Right.
Since she's a party to the action. That's the
Yeah,
exception
no.
of the
She
hearsay
told me
rule.
straight to my face. She says, if you won't give me a divorce, I will get rid of you one way or another. So after 7 years of perfect parole, 3 children, 5 years of marriage, suddenly now I'm a monster. I abused. I did all of these things. I go to prison for pictures that were taken for the sole purpose of setting me up. And now here I am on the defensive, no attorney, by myself. And that's it. I mean, I can't grasp, if I was such a bad person, there was never a cop. Never. I personally, I don't understand it, but this is what it is. I'm just trying to give you an idea. I know I'm not an attorney. I don't know how to articulate everything correctly, and I appreciate your patience. But it's dumbfounding. Simple accusations, 2 years without my kids, and they brought up me not calling. She just set me up and put me in prison. I can't call her phone number, Your Honor. I'm terrified of what this woman's going to do, bug my phone, do something else to me. I lived for 5 years in terror of what this woman was doing. I can't, it's hard as a man to admit what I allowed myself to endure, but I wasn't, the same reasons that I could use to justify me leaving her were the same reasons I couldn't justify leaving my kids in the hands of somebody like this. And I don't know if that makes sense in 2019, but I couldn't leave my kids like that. I just wasn't going to do it. My father abandoned me. I wasn't going to do it just because this had nothing to do with beatings, nothing. I didn't fall into the concept, their third world concept of what a husband and a son-in-law should be. You don't beat a man and humiliate a man and then you're shocked that I don't kiss the ground that you walk on. It was this weird, I can't explain it. Like I was supposed to still be grateful and be in love after being stabbed and punched and burned and disrespected and humiliated. And I never called the cops because I was terrified if I went to my PO or the cops, they would say, this situation's so bad, let's just take the kids from both of them, and then my kids are stuck in CPS or child something, I cared more about them and what was going to happen to them than I cared about myself. And for the first time in my life now, I realize I got to look out for myself more and not settle for stuff like this. So that's all I'm trying to set up the whole situation. I'm sorry for taking so much time, but I mean, that's all I got is just the common sense approach. Look, man, if any of this was happening, where's the police reports? Where's the documentation? Where's the proof? If I just did 20 months for a picture of holding a beer, I would have went and did 6-7 more years for beating on somebody. It didn't happen. She can do whatever she wants. I spent 16 years of my life in prison with some of the craziest people I ever met. She makes them all look like Santa Claus. The power to manipulate and twist, it's dumbfounding. I mean, it is incredible. I'm serious. For someone who didn't go to school and can barely read and write to be able to sit there and do this, it's really something else to be able to know how to do all of these things. And she did it. She successfully orchestrated my demise, had me set up, and here I am fighting for my kids who have suffered for 2 years without their father. God knows what they've been poisoned with. I don't know if they know I'm alive or dead. I have no idea.
What's the
Black's
objection?
Foundation, where's anything in the records that they've
They
been
mentioned, Your Honor,
That's what he said. He said he doesn't know.
Oh, okay.
I have something from P&P stating I'm not allowed to have any contact with her without prior permission. So I have the issue up until they're talking about I haven't sent any cards or any gifts. I was in prison. I wasn't allowed to know their address. There was protection orders the entire time. I get out of prison. I'm handed a brand new protection order. How am I supposed to send anything? What am I supposed to do? They move while I'm in prison. Yeah, so they're trying to make me out to be a bad guy when there's nothing I could have done. Are you kidding me? I'd go see my kids right now. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. This broad taking my kids, and that's what makes this broad is a full-blown sociopath who did the worst thing that anybody could do to anybody, and she's going to get away with it because she's a woman and she's in this country, and it's all messed up. And because I made a mistake 24 years ago that had nothing to do with this woman, I'm going to sit there and be doubted. It's I'm sorry, but I don't know what else to say, man. I just,
Well, you could tell me what it is you'd like me to do.
just see it for what it is. I mean, I know you've seen it all, you know, and I didn't just move 700 miles, risk homelessness without a job, nothing, for nothing. You know what I mean? I left everything to come down here to do whatever it takes to be with my kids, man. You know, and if they want me to jump through hoops, I'll do it. I'm just asking you to right now, you know, they want me to pay for reunification. They want me to pay all of this, because they're blaming me for this 2-year thing. I didn't go to P&P. I didn't produce pictures. I didn't sit there and give a sob story. I didn't put me in prison. I was out for 7 years. I would have never went back to prison. I'm not a criminal. I don't exhibit criminal behavior. I don't get in trouble. This was all part of this.
Can you tell me, you told me before we started that you're now living in Nevada.
Yes, sir. My flight landed at 1 p.m. yesterday.
Okay, so you filed a financial disclosure form at the end of July.
Yeah, and that's when I was up there and still working.
So
Now I'm in the process of looking for employment.
What is your circumstances current?
Yeah, I just got here yesterday. I have a couple jobs in the work. I got to go get my health cards, all of that. I'm not going to be making what I was making up there for sure, because I'll be lucky to be making $9, $10 an hour. And I don't have a vehicle anymore, so that's going to be an issue. She's always made more money than me, ironically.
And why did you come down?
Be with my children. Take whatever. You mentioned at our last hearing that you might have to entertain the visits and the therapy. So rather than take a chance, I got to be here. Whether you say yes or no, I got to be here and do what I got to do to try to be in my kids' life.
Okay, but I keep asking you what is it you'd like me to do, and you just tell me to see it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
What would you like the result of today's hearing to be?
A rational, logical agreement. I get to see my children.
You want me to force you guys to have an agreement?
No. With the attorney, whatever, she offered me a list of terms
Okay, I
to
can't get
avoid
into
this
that.
trial.
That's settlement negotiations.
Right. I couldn't agree to anything because of where I live.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
here
asking you
now.
what you agreed to. I'm asking you what you would like me to do as a result of the evidence I take today.
Oh, allow me back into my children's life.
What does that mean to you?
It means everything to me.
Specifically, what are you envisioning your contact with your children to be?
Oh, what rational parents do at 50-50. I forgive me for not knowing the terminology.
No, I'm not asking you for terminology. I'm asking you what you'd like me to do.
To be able to be in my kid's life as much as possible. Her act like a civilized human being. Keep contact emails only. I'll create an email. She can create an email. I don't want to speak to her. I don't want to use that phone. Find an alternate way for me to communicate with my children, not using her private phone number because she's not to be trusted at all. I don't know if there's a mediator in the court somehow to do that. I'm not sure. They're asking me to do visits here at the courthouse and reunification therapy.
Sir, I need you to focus.
Okay.
Okay, I've told you 2 or 3 times, I don't want to get into the conversations you had trying to settle this case.
Right. Okay.
I need you to tell me what contact between you and the children is in their best interest right now.
Right. I think they need to see their father as soon as possible. I want to be able.
I'm looking for some specifics. You want me to let you see them today and then we're done? What is it that you'd like me to do?
Let me see him today, and then allow. I don't know what would it be.
They're
how-
your children. Tell me
yeah.
what's in their best interest.
To be with their father as much as humanly possible.
Okay. And after the extended absence, what does that look like as far as a visitation schedule is concerned that would be in their best interest?
Right. If you decide to do the reunification therapy, if you think it's right, I'll do that.
Sir,
Right.
I'm not asking you what I think.
Okay.
I'm asking you what you think. What do you think? They're your children.
Yes, sir.
What do you believe? What kind of visitation schedule do you believe would be in their best interest, considering everything they've been through over their lives?
Every other day, possibly. I'm sorry. I don't even know what's possible, so I don't know how to.
Well,
even
I'm
answer
asking
that.
you for your best case scenario.
Yeah.
What do you think? They're your children.
Right.
What do you believe a visitation schedule would be in their best interest?
I would like to just to see him as much as I possibly can, sir. I don't know what days, weekends.
Have you thought this through?
Well, like I said, I just moved here, so I don't even know as far as I gotta get established, and I understand you have to take that into consideration also. I'm not naive to that. But as soon as I'm established, if her and I could act like adults, and she could say, okay, you have him today, or we're free today, I don't understand why we can't just do that, you know?
Do you wanna leave it to her discretion? with
No, I
regard
would
to
like
your
you to
content?
just maybe implement her and I both being allowed to work something out together. I don't know if that's why, I don't know by law, if you have to say
Right.
3 days, 2 days, I don't know how that works. I know so many couples, they just, look, you take them today, I take them tomorrow, or you got them this weekend. I've met 1,000 moms who would never do this to their kids, so I don't know what to do.
Okay, anything else for me to know?
Like I said, I just moved here, so I don't know if am I reporting to the court when I move or when I get a place? You tell me she's telling me I was supposed to make her aware of every move I made in my life, so I
It has
didn't know.
nothing to do with this case. There's
Okay.
no requirements in this case that you notify.
Okay.
She's talking about your criminal case or perhaps your parole issues, and that has nothing to do with what I'm
Okay,
dealing with.
right. All right, did you need documentation from my parole showing that I'm approved to come and all of that? I have that, I didn't,
She didn't challenge it.
okay. I don't have copies, I didn't have a chance to get copies.
Are you testifying that you were approved to come?
Yes, sir, yeah, I am. I would've never even left if that wasn't the case.
Okay.
I've never had an issue on parole until she betrayed me and did that stuff, so. Okay, thank you for,
Anything else I need to know?
no, I'm nothing what they're telling you I am, you know, unfortunately, I don't have the money to buy an attorney and have the people to fly 700 miles down here to testify, so, that's it, you know.
Okay.
I love my kids more than anything in life. I got nothing. No parents, no nothing. They all died when I was in prison. That's all I got, man.
All right,
Yeah.
Cross?
Yes. Steve, you just stated that you had no problems on parole until my client betrayed you.
Yeah, I never was violated.
What do you mean by she betrayed you?
What do you call somebody who does what she did?
And what did she do?
So my own wife intentionally collected a bunch of evidence for the sole purpose.
Was that fabricated evidence? Yes
you
or
mean,
no?
As far as what?
Was it created by my client?
Yeah, in her phone when she
Was
pushed
it
the button, yeah.
fraudulently created by my client?
I don't even know what that means as far as,
It means a lie. It means that the event didn't happen.
no, she took the pictures.
Right, but the event that she took the pictures of you
And she's not a
drinking-
licensed photographer, she's not a
Let me
pro,
finish my
yeah.
question. I only need yes or no's from
Okay.
you. These pictures that you're talking about, did she stage them?
A couple of them, yeah,
A couple of
Yeah.
them?
a few of them
Oh.
she did.
Were other ones real?
Yeah, sure, yes, yes,
Purposes of this
Okay.
testimony, I'm not gonna challenge that, but
all right,
were some pictures real
Yeah.
in your mind?
absolutely.
Were these of you drinking?
Yes,
Were these of you leaving the state?
well, they weren't of me drinking, they were just pictures of me in possession of a beer or whatever. None of them ever showed me drinking.
Can you turn to exhibit 2? Can you flip to that second page?
Yeah. That could be anything. No, I understand what you're saying, yeah.
She hasn't asked you a question yet. Wait for the question.
Do you
Oh.
recognize this picture?
I've seen it for the first time now.
You never saw this picture before.
No, I was never allowed to view anything.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Is that an alcoholic beverage in your
In
hand?
the bottom, yeah.
Is that bottle poised to your mouth with liquid coming into your mouth?
Yeah, it doesn't mean that there's alcohol in it.
Do you believe that my client fabricated this picture?
No, but there's a reason why it was
Can I
taken
admit
right there.
exhibit 2? Do you have any objection to me admitting this picture? You just said that you don't think she created this or faked this
Do you
picture.
have objection to
No,
exhibit
no,
2 coming in?
no, I'm sorry, man.
2 will be admitted then.
So this is you
Sorry
with
about
an
that.
alcoholic beverage.
Counsel, he admitted that he was drinking
Fair enough.
during his
Fair
probation.
enough, you admitted that you drank during your probationary, during parole,
Okay, yeah.
correct?
Yeah, and that has what to do with my
Actually-
kids.
Actually, look at page 1, I'm sorry, exhibit 1. We went over this document with your wife, correct? You heard me going through some testimony with her about this?
What, would you say what?
1, yeah, number 1,
Okay,
exhibit 1.
the list of stuff, or, oh no,
Okay,
I'm
you
sorry.
Do you
Okay.
recognize this document?
Yeah,
Okay, so this is your parole violation hearing report, correct?
yes,
And so you see these different charges at the top there,
right.
where they say like intoxicants,
Yeah.
weapons, conduct directives. Did you plead guilty to those?
No, do you see where it's,
Did you plead
do you see
guilty
where
to
not
those?
guilty
Yes or
is,
no?
listen what I'm telling you. You see where it
You
says,
can't, admonish the witness
Sir.
to say yes or no.
It's her turn to ask you questions.
Right.
So I need you to answer the questions that she's asking you.
okay,
Did you plead guilty to having intoxicants?
let me look.
The
Yeah,
first
oh
charge.
yeah, they had me
You-
change
you
my
pled
plea.
guilty.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
We'll skip weapons because you heard my client's testimony about how, well, actually, let's go into that with you. So there's a weapons charge on here, and not guilty is circled, and then withdrawn by PNP. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Why was that charge withdrawn?
because she admitted that it was hers.
So she admitted that there was
Right.
a weapon in the house, that it was
Yeah.
hers and not yours.
Oh yeah,
So if she was trying to set you up and send you up the river,
Right,
wouldn't
right.
she try to pretend
that's the same
it was
thing the
yours?
P&P lady said. She's an actress.
Yes or no?
Oh, she's good.
Yes or no? Would she, if she were trying to send you up the river for as much time as she could get away with,
Right.
wouldn't she lie and say that was your weapon?
I don't know
Yes
what,
or no?
I don't know what her motive was. Oh, I know what her motive was.
Okay, going down to conduct, did you plead guilty to that charge?
No.
No.
After I pled guilty to the intoxicants, they said I was automatically guilty of everything else. I could not be not guilty of everything else. And that's what they did.
Did you leave the state?
Yeah, I went fishing with my kids.
Okay.
I didn't
Did
go
you get
party.
permission first?
No.
Are you on parole?
Yes.
Is my client on parole?
No.
So she can leave the state and do whatever she wants?
Yeah, that's why she had me go
Is
over
she-
there and
is-
take
Does she have
pictures.
some sort of formal duty where she has to babysit you on parole, or is that your responsibility to make sure you're in compliance with your own terms of
That's
parole?
mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you broke those terms. You admittedly pled guilty to certain offenses that were a violation of your parole,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah.
What are you on parole for?
Life.
For what? What
Hey,
were you convicted of?
I took a illegal plea agreement for second-degree murder.
You took an illegal?
Illegal plea agreement for second-degree murder.
What does that mean?
Violation of double jeopardy, but I was time barred by the time I got into
Did you plead
Supreme
guilty
Court.
to the original charges in your
No, not the
1996
original
case?
charges.
What did you plead guilty to, Dave?
Second-degree murder
Of who?
of my son.
Of your son?
Yeah.
You realize that's relevant to a custody proceeding?
Why?
That you
It's
have
not
a
my
prior
kids now.
child
Okay. I
that's
know
now
that this is
deceased.
all you have to dig up on me, but it has nothing
Rhonda,
to
can
do
you
with
please
my
admonish
child.
me, yes or no?
Sir, here's what's gonna happen. She's gonna be done asking you questions.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna get a chance to clarify whatever you need to
Okay.
clarify. But right now, it's her turn to ask you questions.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so you testified a few minutes ago that my client stabbed, burnt, and beat you, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Where are your pictures of that? Do you have any pictures with you
That's
here
what I
today?
mean. Where are the pictures
Yes
of what
or
I
no?
did?
Do you have any pictures
No, I
with
don't.
you here today? Do you have any witnesses with you here today?
No, they couldn't make
Did
it.
you call the police?
No, of course not.
So you're telling my client that it didn't happen because she didn't call the police, correct? That was your testimony a few minutes ago?
Right,
There's no police
right.
reports,
There's no proof
charges.
on either side
Why would the burden be different for you?
because I was more worried about my kids. She was
So
more
you
worried
should
about
be
setting
entitled
me
to a
up.
special allowance, the fact that you didn't call the police when she stabbed, burnt, and hit you.
Right.
The judge should consider that and should
Who
consider that to
are
be
they
true.
gonna believe? I'm the guy on parole for
That's
murder.
not what I asked. There should be a separate standard for you, and there should be a separate standard for her. That's what you're saying.
I don't know.
Hers didn't happen because she
Right.
didn't call the police, and she didn't, try to get you arrested for those
Right.
things, but you get a special allowance when you were stabbed, burnt, and hit.
Well, she's the poor mom. you
Yes
know?
or no?
No.
Are you working right now?
No, I just moved here yesterday.
Were you working in, I believe it was Idaho?
Yes, ma'am, full time.
Did you file a financial form with the court?
You should have this, right?
Yeah, I do. I think it's exhibit 25.
I did it on my own, the best I could.
Wait for questions.
Oh, sorry.
Does this look like a true and accurate copy of what you filed?
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay. And then do you see on the first page there, it says as of 5/2019, Fran's Bakery was your employer?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
When did that employment stop?
What is today, Monday, this last Thursday?
So from May until last Thursday, you worked at that location? That was your
Yes,
employer?
was it
Okay.
Thursday? Yeah,
And then if you flip the page, do you see where it says $14.20 an hour?
yeah,
And then 40 hours a week
right,
for about $568 a week?
right.
Assuming all the math is correct, is that entire line true and correct for that time period? This would have been May 2019 till last Thursday, that's about what you made?
I think so, like I said, I didn't know as far as, I'm not an IRS agent, I don't know what
That's
what they
fine.
were taking.
And then you have gross monthly income, you have $2,461. That was roughly your gross monthly income, is that correct,
Sure,
for that time period?
I believe so.
And then Can you flip back to the first page?
Gross, yeah, gross.
Yeah, gross, right. Can you flip back to the first page?
Yeah,
Do you see under C where it says prior employment?
Right.
You have Brickyard listed.
yes.
How long did you work at Brickyard?
I worked there when I first got out.
Would that have been April of 2019?
Yeah, I was there about, I think, 3 weeks or a month until I got the Fran's job.
And how much did you get paid at that job, do you remember?
I think 11 an hour, and it was only part-time, like 2 days a week, 3 days a week,
How many hours did you typically get a week?
maybe 20, maybe 15 to 20, depending on what they needed.
Okay. Did you ever send my client any child support?
No, in the first documentation, she claimed she didn't want any, and then nothing was brought up until the last.
Did you, it's a yes or no question. Did you send her any child support?
Send it where?
Did you send her any
No.
child support? Okay.
No, I was in prison.
Would you agree with me that she's had primary custody of your children since you were arrested in July of 2017?
Yeah, that's the way it was set up.
About 10 minutes.
Okay. Do you recall being present at the October 24th, 2018 hearing in this case, what's called the case management conference? I believe you were over the phone because you were still incarcerated at that point.
Possibly, yeah. It's been like 3 or 4 over the phones.
Do you remember myself offering to give you some telephonic contact with the children at that point?
Yes,
Was there a TPO in place at that point?
I don't remember which one was. I can't remember, honestly.
If I represented to you that there was not one, would you have any reason to not believe me?
No, I was still in prison, right?
Correct.
During it? Okay. There's been
And then can
quite
you turn to Exhibit 7? Do you recognize this document?
Give me 1 second, please. Yes. Okay.
What is this?
You were kind enough to send me a letter.
Was this after you were released from incarceration?
Yeah, 1 week after I got out.
Did you receive this letter?
Yeah.
Do you have any problem with me admitting it as exhibit, to this case, Exhibit 7?
Any objection to this?
Oh, no.
evidence?
No.
Okay.
7 will be admitted.
And does this purport to try to give you some telephonic contact with your children?
Yeah, it does. This is what the letter says.
Can you flip to Exhibit 8? Do you recognize this document?
Yeah, was this a printout of the email?
That's what it purports to be. Does this look to
Okay.
be correct? Some emails between myself and you?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Do you have any objection to me admitting this as Exhibit 8?
No, no.
8 will be admitted.
And do you see that, that you're saying that you will not take advantage of this telephonic contact that's being offered you?
Because of her number, right?
Yes or
Hold
no?
on, I'm looking. Is it at the top or the bottom? Bottom.
Well, your response is at the bottom. If you want to reread that to
Okay.
yourself, you can really quickly.
This is when there was a TPO, right?
Correct. And do you see the top? That's my response to you,
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
And do you see where I'm saying that we can make a formal written agreement that specifically states you have permission to contact Olga by means of a special phone number for the purpose of talking to your boys on certain
Yeah.
dates and times?
Yes.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I never got that special phone number.
Yes, you did. Do you
No,
recall
I got
giving
her
one?
phone number.
Correct, that's the phone number I'm referencing.
That's not a special phone number, that's her personal phone
It's a
number.
specific phone number. Maybe
Well,
it's special.
Then there was a
confused.
miscommunication there, because special doesn't mean,
Why would you not take advantage of me giving you her number to contact the
I
children?
just explained that she's the most untrustworthy person on this earth.
So being distrustful of your ex-wife was more important to you than talking to your children?
So a person
Yes or
who
no?
could bug,
Yes or no?
so take a chance of going back to prison and losing my
That's not
kids
what I said.
more because I take a chance and call her phone? What are you asking me?
You have my written word right here that
Yeah.
you can contact her for the limited
With a
purpose of
special
talking to
number.
your children.
Yeah,
You
I
took
honestly
advantage-
thought you were gonna give me a neutral number.
Okay, I need you guys to not talk over each other
You
because
have to wait
it makes
for
the
them to
record.
speak.
All right, thank you very much.
You have my written word here that you can
Right.
speak to her on a number that will be provided to you just to talk to your children.
Right.
And you took advantage of that, yes or no?
For the special number.
Yes or no?
No, like I said, no.
Let me do it this
I
way.
never got the
You
number.
talked to your children since you were
No,
arrested in
I'm still
July
waiting for that special
I
number.
need you guys
You
to
have to
stop
wait until I
talking
finish.
over each other.
Right.
Have you spoken to your children
I haven't been
since you
able to,
were?
no.
Oh my God, Your Honor.
About 6 minutes, counsel.
Okay. Do you know someone by the name of Ricardo Ernesto Diaz?
Yes, he's dead.
Who was he?
He was my former boss.
Do you have any other association with him?
No, he passed away.
Was he ever incarcerated at the same time you were?
For a while, yeah.
Or did you ever share a cell with him?
Temporarily, yeah.
Did you associate with him after you were released on parole?
Yeah, he gave me a job in
Are
his
you allowed
tattoo
to
shop.
associate with known convicted felons on parole?
If I'm working
Yes,
with them or working
or
for them,
no.
absolutely, yeah.
Do you think it's a good idea to associate with known convicted felons?
If I have to work with them,
On parole.
I have to work with them. I mean, even my parole
So
officer
would that
said,
be a yes?
Is that a yes?
are you talking about outside of
Do
work
you-
or with work?
Just period. Do you think it's a good idea for you to associate with convicted felons while you're on parole? Yes or no?
What do I say here?
Yes or no? That's what
No?
you say.
Okay, no.
Okay,
that's
but
what-
you did. You just testified that you did associate with them. Why did you refuse to give Olga a divorce?
I didn't do nothing wrong, and I was willing to do counseling, I was willing to work through it, and I wasn't gonna put my children through what I went through being a fatherless parent. With her, she can tell you one story. With her, it was either me, it was her way or the highway. If I left and gave her the divorce, I would never have saw my children. Guaranteed.
You just went through some exhibits with me where we offered that you could have telephonic contact even though
And
she
that's
didn't-
why these exhibits
Yes.
exist, so that you can have it on record to do this.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, sir, at this point, again, if you had an attorney, they ask you what's called redirect questions. So if there's anything you need to clarify with regard to the questions that counsel asked you, now would be the time to clarify.
Right, other than that, like she mentioned to me at the special number, I honestly thought I was gonna get a neutral number. I refuse to call her phone number. It's just too much of a risk for me, being on parole, having parole guidelines that say I'm not allowed to communicate with her. I have to have something from you and a different number. I wanna take a check, cause it's not just, it's different factors. It's the court thing and my parole situation.
Okay, are you telling me that you have something from parole and probation
Right
that
there.
indicates that they're looking for something from me?
Well, it says without prior permission, I can't talk to her. So I need to take to my parole officer and say, listen, I have this saying I need to talk to my kids via her.
Is this something you'd like me to consider?
Yes, sir, could you look at it?
Well, have you shown it to counsel?
I just got it. Sorry.
You've been out since April and you
Yeah.
just got it?
Well, I'm saying it was been existing, but I don't know what they're gonna do now that I'm back, so I'm not taking any chances.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
See what I mean?
So it may change. as
This
we
is
go.
Nevada's guidelines, but I was in Idaho, so it didn't matter at that time. Now I'm back in Nevada, and I don't want it to, you see,
Okay, so then tell me, what is your understanding of what has to happen before you can have contact with your children?
I believe I need to take some type of document to my parole officer stating that because of this situation, I need to be able to access my kids via her if that's the only possible way. Either email, phone, whatever you decide is best. But I need something saying I have to have some kind of communication with her, because I believe a court order will take precedence over the P&P. I believe so.
Okay, so parole and probation has indicated to you that you're not permitted to contact
Yeah,
the
nothing with
plaintiff.
her at all.
Nothing at all?
Yeah,
Okay, but you believe there's an exception if there's a court order
I would believe so.
requiring you to have that?
Yeah,
Okay,
because I believe court.
all right.
Unless I'm wrong, I don't know the
Why-
law on that.
Why do you have that understanding?
Well, because doesn't court trump the,
Why do you know? Why do you think that's the situation?
I've always been under the understanding that a court order would
Because of what?
legally, that's what I thought. I
Did
mean, I could
somebody
be
tell
wrong.
you that? Did you read that? Where did you get
No,
the
I just-
information initially?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Other than that, I want to get the number situation squared away. I would be happy to call, more than happy to call my
I'm
kids,
sorry, what number situation?
the phone number. I don't want to have
Oh,
to
the
call.
special note from the exhibit.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't know how that would work. Yeah, I don't know. But I would like to, if you can implement this or mandate this,
What are you talking about? This?
if we have to communicate
I see.
via electronic mail only, I'll create create a Gmail or a Yahoo or whatever, and she can create one, and we can keep it strictly to that. Other than that, nothing. If that's okay.
Anything else?
No, the matter of payment on the, if you decide for the visits and the therapy, who has to pay that? They're asking me to cover all of that.
Do you believe therapy is appropriate?
I don't, in this case, I don't know, Your Honor, I don't know.
If they're your children, what do you think?
Right. I believe my kids are strong kids. Obviously, she's doing such an amazing job. He's getting rewards and great. He's got to be functioning well. They're all doing great because they're the best parents on earth. I think they're strong kids. They're smart. I raised them to be smart and intelligent. I think they just need to see their dad. I know that they want to see me. And if it's a formality that the court has to go through, I'll do the therapy. I'll do the visits, whatever you want me to do. I would like you to work out the cost between both of us. That's all.
So your answer is no, you don't believe they need reunification therapy?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Then your
the
answer is I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what that all entails,
Okay.
the therapy. I tried to look it up. I couldn't get any answers on that.
Okay. Anything else I need to know?
Therapy, the visits. Oh, they're bringing up the child support. Like I said, I was in prison for 20 months. It was never an issue until the last thing. And like I said, right now I'm not working yet. So I have absolutely no problem supporting my children. I just how she doesn't get rewarded for doing what she did to us, you know. So I don't know if that's fair.
What she did to us?
Well, my children have been victims in this situation also. They've had their father taken away.
Right, what did she do?
She took their father away from them.
I'm sorry, how did she take their father away?
The document says she went down to parole and probation.
Oh, because she reported you to PNP?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I know I made my mistakes, but this was, I mean, she put her feelings and her family's feelings before what might possibly damage my kids for the rest of their life. That's pretty selfish.
Anything else?
No, nothing, sir.
All right.
Thanks for
Anything
your
else,
time.
counsel?
We're ready for closing.
All right, sir, go ahead and have a seat.
Thank you.
And just confirming you don't have any other witnesses?
No.
Okay.
Did you want the document from the PNP?
If you're gonna offer it, we may run into a problem because I don't know that you provided it to counsel timely according to our local
Okay.
rules, but do you have an objection?
I've never seen it, so I can't really.
Okay, all right. And I think you did testify concerning it, did you not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You told me your understanding of it.
right.
All right, then that part of it at least is in evidence. Counsel?
Your Honor, you heard overwhelming evidence here today that they have an abusive relationship, that defendant committed multiple acts of domestic violence against my client, the children. There were multiple witnesses that saw these different events. Your Honor is well aware of why victims don't sometimes report their abuse, and you heard from my client's own mouth that she was terrified that this man was on parole and knew that if he got a new charge for something like domestic violence, he would go back to prison for a very long time, that his probation would be revoked. So he made my client aware of that, that he instilled that fear in her that if I'm gonna go back away, I'm gonna go for something good, and I'm gonna harm you. If you try to take my kids, if you try to leave me, you're gonna be put, I think he said, I'm gonna kill you, you're put in the hospital. You heard from his own mouth he wouldn't give her the divorce, that he refused to give her the divorce. My client felt like her hands were tied. The only way she could get away from him was to tell on him, and she did. Yes, she did. She told on him to parole and probation. She let them know everything she had endured during their marriage, and they found that to be a violation of his parole. He has no accountability or responsibility, and in this court that means a lot, because you're trusting very small children with him. They're 6, 5, and 2. These are babies. These are people that can't speak for themselves, that can't protect themselves, and he can't even follow what he was supposed to do in the criminal case. He's on parole for the rest of his life, and he has to have all these different restrictions, and he can't even abide them. What makes this court assure that he's gonna respect or follow any rules that they get? What if there's parameters put on his visitation, if there's conditions and he can't leave the state things? We have no assurances he's gonna do any of that. He's admitted that he drank while on probation, that he left the state while on probation. He won't admit to the abuse, but there was overwhelming evidence presented here today that it did happen and it did occur. And that's actually part of those charges, or those categories that say conduct and say different things. Those are what they were relying on. You see this person who has no remorse, who has no accountability, no acceptance of his blame and why he's here. He feels betrayed. You heard from his own mouth. You hear that he was set up. He call for the weapon that was in the house, and instead, she owned up and said, no, that's mine, that's not his, he didn't even know about it, don't put that on him. She is an honest and responsible, loving mother. She's been through a lot, and she now knows that it's her responsibility to keep her children safe, and it did take a lot for her to report the abuse and for her to leave the home, but she did. She filed for this divorce. She brought all this to POP's attention. She told the proper people. She cooperated completely with the investigation through CPS. Yes, it was ultimately unsubstantiated, but that's not because it didn't happen, because there was a distance in time between when the report was made and when the abuse had allegedly occurred. It's something where there just wasn't physical marks. It wasn't something that they found her uncredible, they found the abuse incredible. Everybody's stories matched up. There just simply physically wasn't any evidence to back this up. Also, you heard that they were kind of relieved he was going to prison again for some parole violations. So they had no concern there was going to be an ongoing danger, so they let it close as unsubstantiated. Now that he's back and he's in Vegas, we have huge concerns. This is not something we knew until we walked in today. We've been at hearing after hearing after hearing. He's appeared telephonically. We've allowed that. And everything was he was in Idaho. He was states away. We let a TPO dissolve on that basis, that he was going to be regulated by parole and probation in Idaho. It does logistically make things a little bit easier if this court were to award Dad any kind of supervised visitation, which would be our recommendation, that he would be able to facilitate it, which we didn't, we had concerns logistically before, like how do we even give him something, because we definitely don't want him leaving the state. But again, it's just surprise. It's something that he does these sneak attacks. He doesn't want to cooperate. He doesn't want to be above board. There's no reason why he shouldn't have reached out to me to let me know where we could possibly have worked something out. Instead, he just surprises us as we're here today. It's our recommendation that under the Nevada 125C.00351, that there be a presumption against custody for defendant, that there's been domestic violence proved here today by clear and convincing evidence that he cannot be a custodial parent. He can't have primary custody and he can't have joint custody. He's relegated to visitation only. What that visitation should look like is sort of hard to fashion. We have a lot of issues going on here where he hasn't seen the children in quite a while. Again, he refuses to take responsibility for that, but he simply hasn't seen them in over 2 years. It's something where reunification therapy would be necessary. The littlest one was only 6 or 8 months old when he went into prison. He doesn't know him at all. The other ones are young enough where they probably have dim recollections but don't have any relationship with him. It's something where it would be very startling to these children to be ripped from the only home they've known for the past 2 years and thrust into a stranger's arms. I mean, it should be gradual over time and should be regulated. He needs parenting classes, he needs anger management classes. Clearly, as we're sitting here in this setting, he's getting angry, he's getting aggressive. He's speaking to my client aggressively when they're on the stand. You saw with your own eyes that he has some issues. He also, that coupled with him refusing to take responsibility, is very concerning to Mom. He needs to have something where he's got maybe some mental health. He needs to be evaluated to see if he's got some of the different issues he says he does, like depression and PTSD. Those can often be problematic when you're dealing with child custody. As far as typical divorce issue, there are some debts that are listed on my client's FDF that were communal debts that she testified about. She's been making payments on these. She testified to this entire time. The defendant hasn't made any payments to him. We would ask for an uneven distribution of that remaining debt in deference to the payments that she has made in the past years. Something like a 70-30 split would be appropriate, or an 80-20 split. Child support, he hasn't paid a dime. My client's had primary custody since July of 2017, again by his own actions, violating the terms of his probation. She's had primary custody, hasn't seen a dime. We would ask for the minimum $100 per child to be assessed for the time period where he was incarcerated, and then just the formula based on the evidence that he gave here today about his different incomes as soon as he got out. The court can do the calculation. I believe I tried to provide some in my pretrial memo based on what I was aware of at that time, but we would ask for those arrears to be assessed going back to July 2017. On an ongoing basis, I guess we don't know what to assess at this point because he's quit his job that he had in Idaho and now he's not working at all. And we also have questions about where he's living here. Again, this was a surprise. We probably need the location and pictures that he's got adequate setup. There's 3 of these children, so if he's ever going to have them in his home, we need to know where he's living, that he has adequate lodging for them, that he has a setup for them. In the interim time, we would ask that it be supervised at Donna's house once a week for like an hour at a time. Again, we've offered telephonic contact. We don't have a problem with that. However, the court felt it was most appropriate. Our suggestion is to use the Our Family Wizard app for everyday communication, but then as far as him having FaceTime, we're open to that if he would take advantage of it. We've been offering this entire time because he has to get back in their lives before he can have them. And he just refused. He's paranoid and has these different delusions. and he just refuses to take advantage of it because it was more important to play these manipulative games than to actually see his children. Your Honor sees these cases in and out, and people that are actually desperate to see their children try to see their children.